the first line of my book, which is called The Gift of Failure, is I hope you fail. I hope you fail a lot. And at this point in my life, I think that's the only thing that I've gotten pretty good at is failing because I've just done it so much in so many different areas. And so I've been doing an Ari audit of my thoughts, of my behaviors, of my triggers, of my health habits, of my parenting, basically any and everything, drawing everything up for questioning, for audit, for scrutiny, to enhance and improve, and which is admittedly wildly painful. But I wasn't entirely prepared for is that those problems were the gifts that we grew from. And I wasn't prepared for all of the challenges that brought, not only to the deals, to the investments, to the capital stack, to lenders, to investors, project timelines. But we persisted because we believed what we were doing was meaningful.
But, it takes a lot of different changes to the way you behave, and you have to be introspective about that and understand, hey, I have a role in this organization. The role is not to do everything for people. And that won't allow us to get to 100 million if you want to take the business that way.
The characteristics that make a great founder, okay? And I don't know if I fall in that category or not, but in theory, a great founder, you look at their characteristics as a person. They have grit. They're resilient. They have a vision. They probably are like decathletes of business and that they're pretty good at a lot of different things. All of those traits that would make a great founder make a terrible CEO. A CEO trains people. They don't do everything. They're patient. They build systems and processes. For me, in general, and I work with so many brilliant people from so many different walks of life. And that's one of the great things about real estate is that it's about people. A lot of people build houses. We build homes, and now with this new, fourth industrial revolution, we're about to start building data centers. We built industrial facilities, massive industrial facilities. But this is a point where just everything is caused into question where, before I was looking for answers, and now I'm just trying to ask a better question. And I don't know if that answers your question or not, but that's what the last few years have been about for me.
No, I mean, I definitely agree with you. And I tell this to people really often, that the skills that got you to where you are in business aren't necessarily the ones that'll get you to where you want to go. So I'm sort of dealing with that right now. Like, founded this company 12 years ago, and now we've grown to 50 million and 50 people. So it's like, all right, well, what is my role in this organization now? And it's not nearly the same as it was when there was two people in a basement, shipping orders.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. But, it takes a lot of different changes to the way you behave, and you have to be introspective about that and understand, hey, I have a role in this organization. The role is not to do everything for people. And that won't allow us to get to 100 million if you want to take the business that way.
You're right. That's exactly right. And reinventing your value system, what you see success as, what you see meaning as, where you see purpose as, like these things need to be excavated. I think, I know certainly for me, as I mentioned, that's a big part of this. And I think one of the things I look back on that, I say I wish I would have focused on, but the journey is the journey, and overcoming is the becoming, quite frankly. But it's not a very good strategy to do more. It's a better strategy to learn to delegate and take the time to build out a process and put people, machines, technology, tools in place to do it. It seems at the beginning like I need, and maybe there is a time for it. If I should do more, me. But, business is about we, winning at business, winning at sports, winning at anything longer term is team sport. Focusing on the process, focusing on building the team and taking the time to figure out who can do what, creating better if-then scenarios is a great exercise for young entrepreneurs in general. And it took me a while. I'm very much a late bloomer in life and in business. I think I've just been too stubborn to go home and just maybe spending more hours. But taking that time to figure out how to put very smart people in the right roles is certainly a much better use of time to serve your customers than stressing yourself out and trying to do more, because inevitably you're not going to do it as well as surrounding yourself by phenomenal people that have the right personality, the right skill set, the right focus to do a certain facet that, although you could do very well, you could find somebody extraordinary.
Yeah, I just finished this book, The Effective Executive, and really there's a couple of simple principles, but one of the primary things is you need to focus on outcomes. Like as an executive of a company, like don't focus on how much time you take or where your time is allocated, as much as like you need to get things done. And then you also need to focus on like, what are the things that I actually can get done? Like I'm in a large organization now. Like I need to focus on what outcomes I can actually drive for this company, not everything. And I think a lot of people lose sight of that. They're like, I need to work harder. It's like, what outcomes are you actually driving? Even employees, I think they lose sight of that.
That's great. You're totally right. And I've failed miserably at that so many different times in so many different ways. And, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And so bringing in people that understand that, doing something, it's really tangible, doing something that I know is going to create value for our investors. It's going to have a great end product. It's been a really big driving force. And you said something about the best investment. By definition, there is no best investment. The best investors in the world understand something called asset allocation. Okay. And asset allocation effectively is investing in a series of buckets, call it 8 different buckets, 3 different buckets. It's an inherent level of diversification.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're really smart, you'll make sure they are uncorrelated,
Mm-hmm.
which means like if you invest in stocks go up, bonds usually go down. If bonds go up, stocks go down. So in a perfect world, I would recommend reading Principles by Ray Dalio, or read Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins, who interviewed 50 of the smartest investors in the world and wrote down what they said in classic Tony Robbins style. I love Tony. He's a national treasure. And so the best investment is a series of buckets that are uncorrelated. Can real estate have a meaningful part of that? Absolutely. But any singular investment is by design the worst investment.
I gotcha. So have you then fundamentally said like, okay, we've got a lot of eggs in this real estate bucket and basket, and we had a tough time during COVID. Like, shoot, I need to diversify, right? Because there's the other theory of like, hey, I have insider information that this thing, right? If you knew Bitcoin was going to go from $6 to 100,000, like, don't buy a single family house, dude. Like, keep buying Bitcoin. What's your philosophy there?
Well, what we do in our day job is different than investing.
Okay.
Investing, I mean, I could argue my time is an investment and, whatever. But when I think of investing, I think about money, capital as an employee.
Yep.
And I ask it, what have you done for me today?
Mm-hmm.
And so my business, Rastegar Capital, as it is now, which will continue to evolve in other asset classes, is the short answer. By definition, just because as you get bigger and bigger, you go from building this, then you have a construction company, then you go into lumber, and then you go down this daisy chain that it takes, and you end up owning a bunch of stuff. You plug in prop tech, you start putting chips in your light bulbs, you put solar panels up, and you go into energy. So there is a natural iteration where it will grow beyond the asset class of real estate naturally. But this is my life work. And this is in the thing that we are building that I spend my time, my energy to, albeit in this one field, is where you get subject matter expertise to do your manual labor. I look at investing as something that you do once you've built up enough employees, call it dollars. Charlie Munger used to say making the first $100,000 is the most difficult, and then compound interest through those allocation buckets will then do the work for you. Time will do the work for you. Wealth has grown in decades, not in days. And by design, it should be into those things. So I'm in the very beginning of the harvest season of my career. I'm a 43-year-old CEO. I spent the last 20 years getting through undergraduate, getting through my master's program, getting through law school, building some specialized knowledge to build this thing. And that was the mission.
So do you have ultimate goals as to where you would like to see this company go? I mean, you seem like a driven guy. There has to be some sort of a goal that we've gotten to 10 billion in assets under management. We like to get to 50. We want to get to 100. Have you thought through that, or is your priority just be the best at this thing that we possibly can be and bring value to others around us?
Yeah, I think the second part. I think that I'd like to continue to create more and more value. There's a Japanese principle called Kaizen, which I'm sure you've heard. It means constant, never-ending improvement. I'm out to build a meaningful life. Success is a science. You can lay certain things out and, but there's a point where business for me is a mission. And that mission is never ending. It's this is why I'm alive. This is who I am. And my business is an extension of me. And so there's no limit to what that is. As long as we are contributing and we're growing and we're serving and we're staying curious. And if we can serve more people, if we can do it with more efficiency, with more productivity, and we can grow as people, as a team, as a company, and we can adhere to the old maxim, innovate or die. I would like to continue living. I would like to continue innovating, and I would like to continue staying insatiably hungry to improve. And that inevitably will most likely result in trillions of dollars, but that will not be the goal. That would be a side effect.
Yeah, I've heard it said that business is just a personal growth endeavor masquerading as a capitalistic pursuit, right? And that's kind of how I feel. It's like,
I like it.
Yeah,
I like that. I've never heard that before. I love that.
There you go. I mean, you can steal it.
Why don't you say it again? Say it one more time.
It's business is a personal growth endeavor masquerading as a capitalistic pursuit. Right? Because I'm probably stunning. Like you, like right now I'm working through a partner buyout, and it's a big project for me. We're going to the banks, we're raising money, we're doing this whole thing. And, when I get to the point where I'm like, well, this sucks, gosh, I wish I didn't have to do this. It's like, well, first, one, you signed up for this. Two, it's like, this is exciting, dude. You've never done this before. Like, you're learning new things about business. Not only that, you're putting a worthy challenge in front of you that when you get to the end of it, hopefully in a successful manner.
Problems are the gifts we grow from, bud.
Absolutely. I mean, growth and comfort never found next to each other.
Yeah, comfort is so overrated.
Yeah, you maybe heard of this book or read this book, The Comfort Crisis.
That makes sense.
You'd probably love it, man. This guy, he goes on a winter hunting expedition to, I think he's in like the way northern region of Alaska, like way north, with this like astound hunter, Donnie Vincent. And he writes this book about how all the things that have made us comfortable in modern life, like, were very foreign to someone who lived 300 or 500 or 800 years ago. Like, oh, I'm never cold. It's like, that's not normal. Like, oh, I'm never sitting alone by myself with my thoughts. Like, that's not normal. Like, I'm never, outside for long periods of time. Like, all these things are very, like, I'm never, forced to move my body. It's like, dude, you had to like go hunt, go, pick food. Like, so all these things that make us comfortable are very foreign to our human body, and they're not really serving us. They're just kind of there as a byproduct of modern life. But so I know you talked about like your health and your family. Like, I think that people who hear that, they're like, yeah, but like, I want to be successful, dude. Like that, that's primary, goal number one. But it's still
your health is mission critical, bro. Like, there's no way. I take health super fucking seriously. Like, I take hundreds of supplements a day. I have a full-time age management doctor. I'm in hyperbaric chambers, infrared lights, exercise. Eating, look, I like pizza too, bro. But I mean, sugar, I eat very little of it. I have a nutrition plan that's 80% of the time I'm basically eating salmon, vegetables, and sweet potatoes from Costco. I mean, you can't build anything meaningful without energy. Like, it's like input output. And if you feel like shit, chances are you're going to act like shit. Feelings, how you put off as a leader, as a father, as a friend, like, you really being in your heart. Like, a lot of the work I've done with Dr. Joe Dispenza, I don't know if y'all not know Dr. Joe,
I've
but
heard of him. Yep.
Give yourself the gift and go to a 7-day retreat. I'm going to it. I did 5 or 6 of them last year. It's absolutely palatable beyond belief what can happen. I mean, the seeming miracles that I saw were just mind blowing of what happens when you change your state, when you change your energy.
Do you feel like hyperbaric oxygen therapy was a big
Oh
lever?
man.
Because
Oh
I
man.
just heard Brian Johnson talking about it, and he's like,
yeah. So
everything we did, he's like, nothing proved as meaningful and moving the needle as this.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. I've done more hyperbaric sessions than maybe anybody. Let's say, I shouldn't say that. I've done a lot of hyperbaric chamber sessions, meaning I've did hundreds last year alone. My boy Eric Cortez in Dallas has done 3,500, and he's in his 40s and looks like he's in his 20s. It's insane. One of my dear friends, and he facilitates it for me when I was in Dallas. There's some here in Austin too, but here's the thing about hyperbarics. Yes, it is absolutely phenomenal beyond belief with a few caveats. One is that if you don't have the base level nutrition, meaning the building blocks, because the hyperbaric oxygen through pressure, and by the way, the soft chambers don't do anything. The hard chambers are really where it's at, and above 2 atmospheres, and regulating and going up and down between 1.7 atmospheres to 3 atmospheres. It's this wave protocol that if you go to a clinic, they'll tell you. One is it's going to increase all this cellular growth, stem cells, all this other good stuff, angiogenesis. But that needs building blocks and materials to do all the good stuff. So if you have a base level of nutraceuticals, you have a base level of nutrition and those things in your body, and then you do hyperbarics, it's exponentially more valuable. Exponentially. Not even almost, it's not even, it's insane how much different it'll be when you're in that kind of shape. I've done it both times, when I wasn't in shape, and I've done it afterwards. The other thing is it only works in large doses in very close proximity, meaning the bare minimum to receive any type of semi-permanent benefits to hyperbaric is 40 sessions. 40 sessions is the lowest. And you need to really do 1 to 2 per day. On average, 5 to 6 days a week. So that's a lot of time because it takes 15 minutes.
Basically daily for months.
Yes. And really all the real studies, if you read The Oxygen Revolution or you read Dr. Amen's work or go to the Amen clinics, it's really 80 sessions that you really see the exponential. I did, like I said, I think 200 last year. 200 in 2025 in extremely close proximity. Some were 2 90-minute sessions in the same day.
It's a lot of the day. I mean,
it is. But again, it's wildly beneficial. But just go, and it's expensive, so it is a luxury. So, but if you are going to do it, you need to say, I'm going to do 80, and I'm going to do it every day. Maybe 6 days a week, 5 days a week, but 1 to 2 per day, 5 days a week minimum, let's say, ideally 6 days a week. You need 1 day off, they recommend, for oxygen toxicity and, a bunch of stuff. Has resounding intergalactic changes to your telomere length, your biological age, your skin, to your hair, and a whole slew of other things, because it treats the entire body as a system. But having that one big caveat, in addition to being only in the hard chambers with pure oxygen, in addition to having your health, nutrition in order, is where the benefits are. Yes. And then it'll break the meter. It won't just move the needle. It'll break the meter.
Amazing. All right. Thank you, man. I know you got to buzz out, man, but I really appreciate it. And it sounds like you built like an amazing business, and you got a very interesting perspective on life. And I think it sounds like it's came very full circle for you to kind of pick up the most important pieces.
Thank you, bro. I'm just getting warmed up. Got a lot to learn.
Yeah, man. What's next? So what's the project into the future for you?
Data centers.
Okay.
Data centers is the big focus for a variety of reasons, for all the components that go into it. That's where the need is right now. But data centers, we've built some great prototypes around master plan communities, around apartments, around office, around development, industrial. Data centers are now a huge mandate with a few sites we're looking at now to build some extraordinary stuff that will hopefully power the next wave of enhancing this human experience.
Yeah. Appreciate you, brother. Have a great night.
Bye, bro.